Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the stream. Gonna get the background video up, and we're gonna get started. So, do a little bit of an audio check. Let me know. And I don't have two streams chats up tonight, so I'm gonna see stuff come in a little bit later. So your audio checks might take a extra second for them to come through on the StreamYard app. But anyway, yeah. Welcome to the live stream. If you're new to the channel, we do this live stream every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you have questions, if you're new to the hobby or just need to know something, you come in here and go ahead and throw your question in the comment section. And loud and clear. Good. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, there is definitely a delay on that, but that's okay. Yeah, you just add your questions to the comment section, and I will answer them in the order they're received. Brian King, thanks for becoming a member. Now, I got, of course, with every live stream, while we're waiting for people to come in, I will do some updates. And yeah, so the coral sale, the blowout sale, I started it last week. I think it was the last live stream. I'm pretty sure I did. It's been very, very successful. We probably had about 100 orders come in this week. It's been a long week, so if I'm a little tired today, you guys know what's up. But we're going to push through and try to extend this out as long as we can. But anyway, the coral sale is going to end on Monday. So, yeah, 3 more days, and I'm going to put those prices back to their usual. There's a lot of stuff up there, a lot of beginner SPS for about $10. And, of course, you got to pay for your shipping based on your weight and what state you live in. But, yeah, so it's been very successful. I appreciate all the support on that. Another quick note, I have officially finished the filter socks, the DIY filter socks. If you guys have been on the channel for a while, a couple years ago, I actually made a version of this which had a drawstring. This time, I'm actually 3D printing a special ring that fits inside a 4-inch filter sock holder, and then I build the filter sock around that. I just put them up on the website. You can check them out. They only come in one size, 4-inch by 10-inch. I do not make any other size at the moment. But yeah, they're felt 100% polyester, and yeah, it's good stuff. So, looks like we are good. Go ahead and start adding your questions to the comment section, and we will get started. Again, there is definitely a delay on my end with the StreamYard, but it is what it is. So, yeah, how's you guys' week been going? It's been super busy, and the weather's been pretty crappy. I wanted to get out and do some drone flying, but that didn't happen. I didn't get to go to the range at all this week either. It's just been, one of those weeks, I suppose. But, yeah, the delay on this is... The delay alone for me, I'm seeing, what is it? It's 8:03, and I'm finally seeing 8:01 come in, so that's a little slow. I wonder if I could pull up the other chat. Let me go ahead and see if I can do that while we're waiting, just so I can have a little bit quicker response for people. I'm going to get that going. Yep. Ooh, I'm live. All right, so let me pop that chat out, turn the volume down. All right, there you guys are. I usually don't like, I don't particularly like running both chats because then I get too much going on, and I don't like that. So let me go ahead and pull up the other chat. We're good. All right, sweet, at least on my end. Anyway, but yeah, so yeah, it's been about 100 in clear weather there in Tennessee. Yeah, it's been about 100. Well, I wouldn't say about 100, maybe like 85, 90-ish it got up to, but super humid around here. Just not comfortable weather. The chiller kicked on a couple times today, which is a little bit unusual. So you can definitely tell the weather outside is getting crazy. I brought the central air down to 71 just so I didn't have to mess with it too much. But yeah, it's yeah. So yeah, you guys know that this background video is from like January, right? So if you see some of my newer videos, you're probably like, "Man, what the heck happened?" Yeah, there's a whole series on me overhauling the 300. So if you want to know why there's a ton of stuff missing, go and watch that series. It's pretty cool. You guys can see me destroy my tank pretty much. But yeah, Reggie, it grows pretty good. I actually went into the 40-gallon yesterday and pulled out those tanks just because there wasn't really a lot of room left for them to swim in there. And I cut out a ton of coral. I actually had to remove all the rock from the 40-gallon and to get those tanks out because they were hiding in the rocks, of course. But pulled them out, went and put them in the Frag tanks just so they had a little bit more room to swim. And yeah, so it was a mess. Needless to say, it was a pretty big mess. But it was worth it. I'm glad I got them out of there. Let's go ahead and move here. Let's see if I can pull up this other one. All right. Travis, considering using Zeovit, what products did you dose for elk and cow when you were using it? I use 2-part, but don't even bother with Zeovit, man. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. just don't even do it, man. Just move on to another method. Use the all natural method. Zeovit's it's too much money, and the colors are more of a paste, or I guess I want to say a pastel color. That's what I'm looking for. The word. It's just not my fancy. No, it's not worth the money. The growth isn't the greatest. And I didn't have a system up for very long. If you watch that video series, I ended up shocking myself in the fish room. Lots of lessons learned in that little closet early on anyways. But don't even bother with Zeovit, man. Just go to another setup. You can do a Triton method. You could do just what I do. Run a calcium reactor and run a good skimmer and a refugium, and off to the races you are. But yeah, don't waste your money on Zeovit. Sup, Travis? What's up with your average par? Sup, Travis? What is your average par for 300? Like at the top of the tank, a middle and lower parts of the tank. Ryan's, you can. I do have a whole video when I was setting this tank up in the 300 gallon playlist with all the par and everything in there. You can check that out. But I believe it's like at the very top of the water, it's like 800, 900, where some of those corals are now. It's crazy how some of these corals look small compared to what they are now. But and then I don't know. It goes from about 800 to the very top down to 250 at the bottom glass. So anything in between there is my rock structure. You guys know that I run 8 XR15s and 8 T5 bulbs, Blue Plus and actinic bulbs for the T5s. But that's usually the range I sit in. If you look in the middle left rock structure, that WWC. That coral, I took that whole colony out because it was getting too much light. It was getting so much light that it wasn't able to get the yellow polyps. But now that I moved it down almost to the bottom of the tank, it's got yellow, or not yellow polyps, yellow tips. And it looks pretty good now that it's not getting slammed with so much light. Let's move down. What's the smallest size tank you would recommend to quarantine a yellow tank? 20 gallon long would be the smallest I would recommend. Hey, Travis, did you get that Canada Dry good shipping rolling yet? Asking for a friend. No, I did not. I'm probably not going to ship outside the United States. The custom paperwork's a huge pain in the butt. You guys know that I do get a little help with shipping, but I'm a one-man show, at least for now. I'm not really going to be doing any expanding. Maybe 3D printing I'll be expanding. Of course, keeping my coral sales the same. But the business, I'm not venturing out anymore. I'm not putting out any more feelers or branches or doing anything to promote the business more than I am now, because I can't do any more than what I'm doing now. So I talked about this with Scott on the phone the other day, or at least yesterday. I'm not able to put any more time into it. So adding outside the United States shipping would be too big of a hassle. Even though the money would be good, I know there'd be a lot of orders, but I just can't do it. I won't have enough time during the day to get it done. But that will happen and kick in once we relocate within the next year or so. And then I have Scott coming on full time. So that's we're definitely looking forward to that, because a lot of stuff I want to get done and do, but I have to wait till I have a little bit more staffing. It's the way it is. That's why it's one of the reasons why you guys are only getting 1 or 2 videos a week now. And then you got the live stream here, because there's just no way. I can't do it. There literally is no way that I can do everything. I just can't do it. Like I said, I start shipping. I start prepping my boxes for shipping and all that good stuff first thing in the morning, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. And then we start packing around noon, and hopefully I'm done by 4 or 5 o'clock. So, and then, I gotta be done before 5 at least, because I got to drop that stuff off before then. So, just can't do it, man. Can't do it right now. Hi, Travis. How often do you siphon detritus on your bare bottom? Whenever it gets really annoying. I don't really have a schedule for that anymore. I don't do a lot of water changes on this system because of all the coral that's going out. I have to replace it with fresh water. So if I'm trying to get my nutrients down a little bit, maybe I'll consider doing it. But I usually don't mess with the detritus unless it's just irritating to look at, or the fish keep knocking into it and it makes the tank all cloudy. But other than that, I would say for most people, probably once per month is pretty average for that. Travis, I got a local fish store selling hermit crab, blue-legged hermit crabs for $1 a piece. That's super expensive, George. We talked about that the other day, man. That's just, man. I remember before Brian passed away, man, I was getting it from him for like 17 cents a piece. That was nuts. I can't imagine spending $1 for this small blue-legged hermit crab. I don't know why. I don't know why they're charging so much. It doesn't make any sense because those jokers. I know the license to pull that stuff out of the ocean could be expensive, but I just I don't see how you can charge somebody $1 for this thing that's not even bigger than a quarter. It just doesn't make any sense. But people are doing it. People are spending more than upwards of $2 for them. I've seen it's just insane. That's one of the reasons why I don't have any really that much cleanup crew in my systems because Brian's not here anymore, and I'm not going out. I'm not going out and spending that much money. That's crazy. You call me cheap, but yeah, it's crazy. Nope. Hey, Fish of Hex, how do you decide the size of the UV sterilizer to run 90-gallon total water volume? It really depends on what you want to do with the UV sterilizer. If you're just using it to clarify the water like I do, I just get something generic, nothing too crazy. I got a 55 watt and 500 gallons. It seems fine. You don't need to go too crazy because, ideally you should be quarantining your fish, so you shouldn't have any parasites that you're trying to kill. You're probably just using it to clarify the water. So get something relatively small. You don't have to go crazy, man. Yeah. And if you have to, just slow the water flow through it if the UV sterilizer has less power. And then you get a little bit more contact time, kind of make up for the lack of power. So other than that, I don't really have a guide to it. It's just what I got for mine. It seems fine. Let's go move down here. Any options on the ATI Essentials Pro? I don't know. I think, George, didn't we talk about all that stuff on the phone? I'm pretty sure I gave you a list of test kits and all that kind of stuff to go through. Hit me up via email if you want any more specifics on that. I don't mind sending that over so you don't have to ask during a live stream, but it's your call, man. Do you wear a mask to stop the spread to your fish? I don't know. It's kind of a dumb question, but hey, man, I think if you want to ask that, you can. I have an SPS dominant tank and starting to notice some aptasia. Will this harm kill my SPS? It might piss off your SPS, but it's not. It's more. We can't talk today. That's what I got going on here. We'll grab some water. It's a little bit more irritating than anything, aptasia wise. I would get on it real quick because if it starts spreading, it'll take over the rock structures. It'll just look disgusting. So if you're starting to see a little bit of it, either zap it with a wand, get the Nudibrox, which I recommend. I know they're expensive, but get them, put them in at night with the lights off. Make sure your RAS is fed prior to turning your lights off, and drop them in there around the aptasia and let them go to town. But yeah, don't let that stuff spread. It won't. I don't think it's going to kill your SPS. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've never had one growing next to an SPS. I haven't had aptasia in a very long time. It was a beginner thing for me, and we're not counting the imported system. That wasn't my fault. But yeah, I would get on top of that before it gets too bad because it's going to look like crap. I'm over here yawning. Blah. I'm telling you guys, it was a long day today. Okay, next question. Travis, thanks for the Zeobit advice. Reason I wanted to changes my setup can't hold a Refugium. I'm looking for a way to lower nitrates other than consistent water changes. Well, okay, so find the source of the elevated nitrates or elevated nutrients in general. Find out how you're getting those in the first place. Are you feeding too much? I know I talked about this before. I think in the video that I posted this week. Pretty sure I talked about it this week. But yeah, so find the source. Is it your RO water? Do you have more than 0 TDS? Are you feeding too much? You got too many fish? You got dirty rock? I mean, there's so many reasons. There's always an underlying reason why you have elevated nutrients or even nitrates in general. So find that source. And then if you want, you can add an algae scrubber, Chaeto reactor, put an external display Refugium, something like that if you like the look of that. But yeah, I mean, you got to find the source. Zeobit would just be a band-aid. It would take forever to get set up. It just wouldn't work out, man. I'm just trying to save you some money and the whole headache of Zeobit in the first place. All right, I'm gonna fix that real quick. All right. All right, yeah, Scott's talking there. We got that here. All right, next question. Risky Biscuits. I just got my 100-gallon tank up today, and I have a Neptune FMM on the return pump. The pump is rated for 2,700 gallons per hour, but the FMM is reading 550 gallons per hour. Is the FMM really this much trash by inexperience? Okay, so I have one on the output of my pump, and it actually started dying and started giving me weird readings. Go into the classic. I don't know what Apex you're using. If it's the brand new one, you can go in there and make sure it's not set to you set the gallons per hour or liters per hour or something like that. So just make sure you're actually on gallons per hour, and then if that doesn't work, you can take it apart, make sure it's clean. But if it's brand new, it should be working. There really is no reason. But understand that depending on you have a 2,700 gallon pump, right? How far up are you pumping? How many bends are there? How small is the tubing? I mean, you can drop 2,700 gallons per hour down to 550 without a problem. It just depends on the piping and all that kind of stuff. So it might be right. You might actually not be putting that much through, but double check. Just make sure you're at the right gallons per hour. Make sure it says gallons per hour. And you can do that through the classic dashboard. I don't know how to do it through the new Apex. I haven't even tried, but I'm sure you can go in there. And I mean, it's got to be easier than the classic. But yeah, just make sure you're at the right one. Moving down here. Do you know about leopard wrasses? I do not. Do you think I can hold one in a bare bottom tank? Okay, some people have had leopard wrasses in a bare bottom tank. It's not recommended. I'd get away with it at Melanoris without any problem because he tends to sleep inside the rock structure or sleep in the zoas. But I would say if it's a baby and it's not been really exposed to sand all that much, then you might get away with it learning to live in other places within there. But I would say, from my experience, Melanoris wrasses and coarse wrasses, yellow coarse wrasses, have no problem being in a bare bottom tank. No issue whatsoever. I have not personally tried the leopard or any other type of wrasse, so you might have to ask somebody else that. But yeah, do a little bit more research before you buy one. What is the best way to get rid of verminted snails? You can do bumblebee snails, which are super expensive, don't always work. Basically what you should do is just restart the tank, sanitize the whole system, get rid of all the rock. You're not getting rid of them, man. They suck real bad. Hey, Travis, our blue-legged hermit crabs are like $6.99. Jesus, and here in Canada, that is unreal. God, I couldn't even imagine. You could see these emerald crab. I mean, these blue-legged hermit crabs. I mean, they're literally smaller than a quarter. They're even called tiny on some sites, and they're still charging that much. That's nuts. I don't know how people do it. I mean, I'd lick my own rock before I spent that much on an emerald crab or hermit crab. That's nuts. Nope. Brian, this is live. So how far am I behind? That's a 8:11, and then we got what time is it? 8:18. So not too bad. 7 minutes. All right. Fish of Hex, thoughts on a wooden 2x6 stand for 300 gallon or go with metal? I've used plenty of wooden stands. I personally like the look of metal ones better. It's just personal preference now. I feel safer with a metal stand or steel stand, but 2x6s, yeah, that'll be fine as long as you got enough bracing in the middle. You'll be fine. Did I ever tell you guys the first stand that I ever built? So it was for my 125 gallons. So it was the first stand, the very first stand, way back. So I bought the tank in Massachusetts, and like, I don't know, freaking forever ago it seems. But it was going to be a freshwater for quite a while. Actually, it was freshwater for a long time. But anyway, so I built the stand out of 2x6s all the way around and then up the middle. And then I took those, I think they're they got to be 4x4s. They're literally just chunks of wood. And then I put those on each side, and then I put every 1 foot. Yeah, every 1 foot I put a 4x4. You couldn't fit your hand in the middle of this stand. It was so full of wood. And when we had to move, right? So I went to move it, and it took 4 of us just to lift up one end, to drag it, then to get it down into the truck. So a little overkill. you could probably park a car on that and just chill all day. It wouldn't be a problem. But yeah, you don't need to go too crazy, man. They're pretty strong stuff. Wood's got a lot of force. Plus, you get some some strong wood screws that have a huge shear off weight, so you'll be all right. But yeah. Let's see here. Moving down. I do use the Apex and the Trident. Yes, I do have both. Do you think I could put a Bellis angelfish in a 90-gallon tank? I don't know that fish. I can look it up real quick, I suppose. Give you an idea of how big it's going to get. Answer that question for you. Let's Google it, shall we? Pornhub. Nope, that's not it. All right, let's see how big this fish gets. It looks cool. Live Aquaria. Well, it says Live Aquaria right on the thing says a minimum of 120-gallon tank. So the fish gets 7 inches, says minimum of 120-gallon tank. So there's your answer. No, I would not put it in there. Sorry to bust your bubble, man. But let's go move down. Ooh, I scrolled all the way down. Can't be doing that. All right, Travis, what's your thoughts on the trigger system sumps? Because I'm thinking about buying felt-fed Emerald 939. Okay, so I heard they're pretty good, to be honest. I've never had one personally, but I've seen them. I know that there's a couple people here on YouTube that have them. They're pretty good. Price is good. I'm more of a Geos guy. I like Geo stuff all the way around, so I'm probably going to stick with them. But yeah, I haven't heard any complaints. They look pretty cool too. All right. Ben. Hey, Travis, do you add fish to the 300 that you can't QT in cupramine? Certain gobies, sensitive fish, cleanup crew. What's your process? Nothing touches the 300 or technically 500 without quarantine. It just doesn't. If it can't be in cupramine, then put it in hyposalinity. If you can't do hyposalinity or cupramine, don't bother with the fish. Don't get it. It needs to be quarantined. You can't just observe because well, something might not pop up until it gets in the tank, gets a little stressed out, and it's too late at that point. So yeah, if you can't put it in cupramine or copper, then put it in hypo. If it doesn't like hypo, then don't try to keep that fish. But it's very rare. I highly doubt you'll find anything that can't have both or either one or the other. How do you know if you have enough water movement in a tank? Usually I pay attention to polyp extension. If stuff is moving pretty good, usually look for detritus buildup within corals, which can be pretty common. The fish are just swimming around taking dumps all the time, so that stuff is floating around. If you find any kind of detritus buildup on the rock structures or within a coral colony, then you need a little bit more flow. Also, make sure polyp extension is pretty good. If a coral is completely closed up in front of a power head, then obviously you have a little bit too much flow. You might want to move the power head around. So that's pretty much all I look forward for. I don't have a specific gallon per hour or anything like that. I kind of just keep it simple. Next question. I'm looking to add fish to my SPS tank. My Magano and Aptasia control. Yeah, those are two huge pains. My angelfish recommendations that won't munch on SPS. I don't have any recommendations for angels that won't eat SPS. I just don't. Sorry, my chair squeaking. I don't have any recommendations. I would not put an angel in a tank with SPS. Personally, wouldn't do it. Just nope. There's other ways around getting rid of those. Aptasia control, use the nudibranchs. I'm not sure if the nudibranchs will eat the Majanos, but Mahanos or however else you want to pronounce it. I was going to tell you a joke, but I'm going to get demonetized, so we're not doing that. Moving down. Doing an update to fix my FMM when it was reading like that. Yeah, just do an update on it. Should be good. Or again, check to make sure you're at the right gallons per hour or liters per hour. Hey, how's Fascist Spike doing? Fascist Spike actually, my neighbor fell in love with him, and he lives with them now. He moved out. The thing is that I have 3 boys. And they are crazy. So they have this thing about going into his cage and grabbing his tail and doing all sorts of stuff. Lock the cage. They find a way to break the lock off and get it disconnected. It's just a huge mess. So he was stressed out. He wasn't happy. I didn't want to keep him down in the fish room because it's like a dungeon down here. So my neighbor, she fell in love with him, and I was like, well, she's like, I really want to get one of these. I'm like, well, he really likes you, so he's with her. and her husband, and he runs free at their new place and climbs the curtain and just has a great time, gets baths and his nails done, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, he's I'm not selfish like that. I'm not going to keep him because, and if he can be happier somewhere else, and he is, so that's what I'm looking for. I'd rather him be happy with somebody else than be selfish and keep him here. And the boys tormenting him. They don't mean to. They're just boys, man. That's what they do. So, but yeah. So Fat Shit Spike is fat shitting on somebody else's couch. But yeah, it's good though. He's doing real good. I get pictures of him all the time. It's crazy. All right. Next question. Hey Travis, I have a new 190-gallon tank with a 70-gallon sump. I have one 25-watt UV sterilizer. Do you think adding another one will work, or should I swap it for a bigger one instead? 90-gallon with a 70-gallon sump, 25-watt. Yeah, you might want to. Well, shit. I mean, I have a 55 on 500, and it works fine. You might want to lower. I mean, is the tank look good? Is the 25-watt making the tank look good? I mean, you're not going to use it for parasite control or pest control, parasite control. You shouldn't be using it for algae control. So if your tank looks clear with the 25 watts that you have now, then leave it alone. You don't need to upgrade. You don't need to get a bigger one. You don't need to add another one. Just, if it looks good, then, yeah. Let me show that. There we go. But yeah, so if it looks good, the tank looks good, and he seems like it's doing his job, then don't worry about it, man. Don't spend the money if you don't need to. Hey, Travis, thanks for serving the country. I much appreciate it. No problem. No problem. Yeah, speaking of that, I got a missed call from the HRC. I'm pretty sure it was them. It was from a Kentucky number, but there was no voicemail. So hopefully I'm going to try to call them on Monday and see if they got all my DD214 stuff. So got to get that corrected. Yeah, but it's a long process, man. It's just military stuff. It takes forever to get fixed. Anybody in the military knows exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, so hopefully that was them calling, and I'll get that straightened out. Let's move down. Do I need to decrease the flow from my power heads at night? If so, how much? I'm starting a bare bottom SPS tank, so I will have a good amount of flow. Okay, so I used to before I kind of gave up on it. I got these new power heads, and I don't hook them up to the Apex anymore. Usually, when I can control the flow a little bit better, I will let the flow go from its normal daylight an hour before the ramping down of the lights. I'll go ahead and bring them down to about 35% and just have them stay consistent at 35%. Usually power heads don't like to go below 30. I mean, I know Jabos don't personally, but you just let them stay at a consistent flow. And then once the lights ramp back up fully in the morning, you can go ahead and put them back to their normal pulsing and all that good stuff. But that's what I usually do, or used to do. Right now, it's not really. Like I said, I got those 3 Jabos for selling or trading some coral, and then I have the Nero 5s. I just let the Nero 5s run a consistent, and then I have a random flow on the Jabos, and I just leave it at that. I should probably be a little bit more precise with it, but at this point, I'm just kind of letting it do its thing. All right, moving down here. Have you ever had an Acropora crab? I have had them come in on colonies that I was importing back in the day when I was importing acros and cutting them up and going through that whole process. But I've never kept one in my Acropora main display though. If that's what you're asking, no, I haven't done that. One more question. My mixing station is in the garage and it's hot there. So the water is 87 degrees. When I do a 10-gallon water change at a 100-gallon system, is that too much of a temp swing? Tank is 78. So you're doing 10-gallon water change on a 100-gallon system at 87. I don't think it's going to be that bad. I mean, it's only 10%, man. So I don't think it's going to be that bad. I would say before you get a bunch of coral in it, do a water change and see what the temperature fluctuation is. What you can do is actually put the water in slowly. Do 5 gallons and come back in like 10, 15 minutes, do another 5 gallons, or break it up even smaller than that. Just allow it to mix through the tank a little bit and, let the temperature kind of do its thing before, better than just dumping the whole thing in at one time. But yeah, it's your call on that. I would do a couple water changes to see how it affects before you get a bunch of coral in there. I'm amazed. No thumbs down yet, Travis. Way to go. Yeah, not yet, man. They'll be coming. Let me see. Let me check. could check. No, well, we should get some more thumbs up. I don't know how many you have, but we should get some more. But I see 17, so that's all I can see on my end. I don't know what else is there, but yeah. I forgot what I was looking at. Yeah, the thumbs down. Just get back, grab my water real quick. Hey, any luck on the holder for the Senite par readings? I haven't even looked at that yet, Gabe. It's something I'm going to do in the future. I have it on a list here. I know I talked about that before, but yeah, I've been messing around with filter socks. I've been going insane getting that stuff done. I don't personally enjoy sewing, but I won't be making them all, so got somebody else doing that. Hi, Travis. My TDS is 4. Should I be changing my cartridge tomorrow? Yes. Yeah, you should be changing it before it gets 1. Keep an eye on it. I don't know what your setup is. I don't know. You can email me a picture of your setup. I'll tell you what cartridges you got to switch around. But ideally, you want to test the water coming in from the house into the unit, kind of see what your TDS is. Then you want to test it coming out of the unit, out of the RO membrane before it goes into the DI. You want to see kind of what you have there. That gives you an idea. It's usually around 10 TDS average is what comes out, depending on how many membranes you have. And that gives you an idea when those filters in that main part of the RO system need to be changed, other than visually seeing the first cartridge get dirty, or the first cartridge get dirty, and then just changing that accordingly. But when you start seeing TDS creep before it goes into the DI, that's when you want to start changing out those membranes and all those carbon filters, all that stuff. But then you want it to run into the DI. I usually use a 2-stage DI minimum. And then once the first stage is done, if you're using color changing, you can see when it starts going bad, or you have another TDS meter between the 2 DIs. And then once you get 1 TDS going into the second DI, you just swap the second DI to the first DI, and then you fill up that first DI and put it in the second DI spot. I know that. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I'll have to do a video on that. I might have already. I mean, who knows? It's like 570 of them. But yeah, I'll have to do a video on that at some point. But yeah, that's what I do. The only difference is I run 3 DIs, and I just swap out the first one with this last one all the time. Moving down. Hey, Travis, what's the large swaying coral in the front? A Gorgonian? Yes, the front left. Or sorry, front right. Yeah, that's a Gorgonian. That's a Groob's Gorgonian, which is about half the size it is in the video right now, because I've been cutting a ton of frags off that thing. I'm selling a ton of that coral. I'm going to have to take it out of stock soon, because I'm starting to get nubs. But it'll grow. It grows pretty quick, though. Will you have any more PC Rainbow soon? Some same price currently. I don't know. PC Rainbow it grows pretty quick, but it's one of those colonies I'm trying to grow out, man, so it doesn't look like nubs all the time. I don't know when I'm going to have that back in stock. If you email me and you purchase a bunch of other corals, then I will consider cutting one and healing it for you. But I don't do cut to order really anymore, unless it's per request, because it got to the point where I had so many cut to order orders sitting around healing that it was just a pain in the butt. It was in the way. So, WWC yellow tip, yeah, I have a ton of yellow tip. It's underneath the Acropora tab. I changed that tab from cut to order to Acropora, and all the acros that are currently available are on there. And again, that sale ends on Sunday night, 12 a.m. Monday, because I got to put my prices back to the way they were. But I don't mind. I don't mind dropping the prices, but I'm definitely giving that shit away. That's for sure. Oh, demonetized. Let's go ahead and move down. All right. Plus and negative on the Apex Trident setup. What dosers do you use, and what do you dose? Well, I don't use any dosers other than for my nitrates and phosphates when I need to dose that. And when it comes to the Trident, I just use it to monitor alk. Really, I mean, of course, it does calcium and magnesium, but I use it primarily for alkalinity. And I use a calcium reactor for everything else. And everything else that I dose, supplement-wise, is in a previous video. You can check that out. That's a long list. Do you think a 3 to 5K gallons per hour is good enough for a 40-gallon tank? Yeah. I mean, that seems like a pretty good amount. Flow on the inside, yeah, that you should be fine with that. Just make sure the corals are happy. If the polyps are out and they're swaying pretty good, they look good, then yeah, you're fine with that. Of course, you don't want to be splashing water out of the tank. You don't want to be pissing off the fish, blasting them into corners and stuff like that. So just keep an eye on it. The corals look happy and the polyps are out, then leave it alone. I watched your video. I was going to say Brandon. My brother's name is Brandon, but I tell you every time you come into the stream, and then people give me shit for telling you every time you come in the stream. But by the way, my brother's name is Brandon. I miss that kid, man. I haven't seen him in forever. I got to get to Vermont at some point. But anyway. All right, there we go. I got people texting me. All right, I watched your video on the ugly phase. Well, I've kept everything in check, just like you explained in the video. Still got dinos. Anything else I could be doing? Well, if you got dinos, then your nutrients are too low. So consider increasing your nutrients. So you did everything to keep your nutrients low. So everything in that video I talked about was keeping your nutrients in check. So you did exactly that, but you got them down a little bit too low. So just you can increase the feeding. Increase your bio load by having more fish, of course, quarantine them ahead of time. But you can also dose some nitrates and phosphates. You can find that at my website, Chair Squeaking. And so congrats on taking care of that. I had a whole bunch of people come in saying that you shouldn't expect people to not have an ugly phase. I'm pretty sure I explained in the video why you don't need to have an ugly phase. So I don't know. I guess people just read the title and then comment. I mean, it happens every once in a while, but yeah. How long from starting the business did you make an actual wage? Just lost my job and have a fish room much like yours, considering starting up. UK, hope your family is keeping safe. Well, sorry you lost your job, man. I don't know if it was good COVID and stuff like that, but hopefully you can get on your feet. Now, it's different for me than it is for most people who start saltwater businesses, because my YouTube channel is my advertisement. A lot of my sales come from YouTube stuff, these live streams, all sorts of stuff like that. And then of course I go locally. So first of all, you got to get out there. All right. I didn't make a profit. I broke even. So the first year I didn't really make any money, because I spent so much on the setup and buying lights. I mean, I spent so much money getting the system set up. So I didn't really make any money. The second year I broke even. Third year I did well. So, and then this year, I think I'm on what am I? I started in 17, so I've been 18, 19. Yeah, so I'm on my fourth year. Pretty good. I'm all right. Can't complain. Yeah, so I would say get out there, Facebook groups, local stuff. I don't know if you guys have Craigslist over there. I don't know. Whatever you guys use for selling stuff locally. Be careful about who comes over to your house. Try to meet people locally if you can. I would recommend going through Shopify. You can build your website through there. Understand there's a monthly fee. If you're just starting out, then I think you can get away with the $30 a month. You can either do the Shopify shipping or you can do a third party, which I did when I first started out. You save a little bit more money on that. Yeah, you can do the third party. I don't know if you can do it over there. It's called eShipper. They're out of Canada, so you might be able to try that. But you just got to get out there. You can make YouTube videos on your fish room and talk about your coral and stuff like that. It's a good way to start. It's difficult for me to tell people exactly what to do because my situation is unique. Because I already had a platform, I already had followers, and then I started selling coral, and then it just kind of evolved to what it is now. Yeah, good luck, man. Keep your head up. Yeah, fast shitting on someone else's couch. Yeah, Spike. I miss him to death, man. I have pictures of him on my phone. I was looking at him the other day. I miss him to death. But I mean, I'll see him again. He's out in Perry County. That's where I plan on moving and stuff. So, I mean, I'll see him again and we'll hang out. But I'm glad. I'm just glad he's not getting tormented by the kids, man. I felt bad for him. And of course, with me working all the time down here, he can only sit on my shoulder for so long before he gets just annoyed with me walking around so much. Because I would just leave him on my shoulder and I'd walk around, do all my stuff in the fish room all day long. And he just got irritated because he was trying to sleep on my shoulder. And he would get woken up every time I got off from my seat. So it's just easier for him to be happier somewhere else. So I'm glad that he is. Let's go and see here. I think that question came in twice. All right, I'm just cycling it. So I don't know yet, but I've been watching videos that recommended more. They say that it is even useless to have one smaller, and trust me. Okay, yeah, I mean, it's not useless to have a smaller UV sterilizer. It's gonna do something. If your tank, like I said before, if your tank is looking fine, then leave it. If you want to buy a bigger one, go ahead. But you're just starting, you're just cycling. You don't need to. Don't even bother spending the extra money right now. Just kind of let it do its thing. What's the par in this tank? I have a whole video. Go to 300-gallon playlist on my channel, and you can check out. This is a 300-gallon playlist. I have a ton of stuff there. This whole setup, everything you need to know about the 300 is in there. Everything. All right, check that out. Reef and Chill. Got here late. What's up, Travis? Just cleaned my MP10 wet side. Had to reduce from 80% to 40%. Huh? Yeah, I understand that feeling. You keep cranking up your power heads over like 2 or 3 months. And you're like, just to get enough normal flow, and then you go to clean them, put them back in your tank, and your fish get blasted against the wall. You're like, oop, my bad. You go and turn that down. But that's pretty funny. I'm actually, I don't know if he's in the stream, but I'm actually getting a pump sent to me to make a guard for it. And then I just had somebody send a test kit, and I did a test kit holder for that. It was the Red Sea Foundations, and I sent that back. So if you guys have something in particular that you want 3D printed for a pump or a test kit or something, you can send that to me. I will make it, and I'll send you the prototype for free, and I'll pay for the shipping, obviously, to send it back to you. So, let me know. You can just email me. If someone gives you a thumbs down, I'll give them a good old Canadian punch and look for you. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Hey, I don't take that stuff personal. One thing about YouTube is I don't take it personal. I mess with people. I troll with people. I do things to mess with people all the time, and I get it back, and I don't take it personal. It doesn't bother me at all. But there are people who say things that are not true and kind of make whole videos about me, which is flattering in itself. But yeah, you always have that. So I don't get offended by thumbs down. It still helps my analytics, so I'm not mad about it. Yeah. So what am I at? 8:31, and I'm at okay. So I'm 11 minutes behind. I gotta hurry this up. I really don't think people realize that 10% water change is really not worth the time. I personally think that 30%, if you're going to do them, at least make a difference in the problem. Well, water changes can be used to fix a problem. I primarily use it to remove detritus. If I have a problem, I find the problem. I usually don't use a water change to fix it, unless if for some reason back in the day, I mean, my kid threw a whole thing of food in there. My mom was taking care of my tank. She dumped a whole bunch of food in there thinking it was fine. And then, you might want to do a bigger water change, like 30 or 40% to help get those nutrients down or get all that excess food out. Or if you actually get a chemical in the tank, of course. But usually water changes are detritus for me, and I tend not to use them unless there's something crazy going on where I got to do a big water change. I'm not going to run filter socks. The felt rolls are cheap enough, so I'm going to stick with them. I'm thinking about maybe trying the felt roll or that felt roll on the next build. I haven't decided yet because it's going to be 2,000 gallons of water. I don't know how long it's going to last. I'll have to see. I'm going to make it in a way that I'll make the system in a way that if the roller doesn't work out for me, I can always revert back to filter socks. That's pretty much how I'm going to build it, just in case. Because I might not like it. So we'll see. Travis, one big reason people are buying your frags because you do not have parasites. Yeah, I don't have parasites. That's for sure. I couldn't imagine dealing with that kind. I mean, I'd have an anxiety attack if I was dealing with red bugs or nudibranchs or something crazy in my 300, man. That would just the thought of it. Oh man. I mean, I've seen people's entire systems just, you spend 3 or 4 years growing this beautiful Acropora tank. I'm just talking about somebody, and I'm not going to mention a name, but spend all this time growing this tank, and then you go to a frag swap and you find this frag, this acro that you really, really love and you really wanted, and then you get it home and you don't quarantine it, and then you plop that bad boy into your display, and then within 3 weeks you got Acropora eating nudibranchs chowing down your entire setup. That is, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I mean, I know, well, okay, I'd wish it on a couple people, but we ain't gonna mention any names for that. But yeah, it's it sucks. That sucks real bad. What do you think about gravity-fed ATOs like the float switches, dodgy or reliable? I mean, yeah. I mean, I know people use them. They haven't had any problems. Yeah, that might be something that I'll end up using in my new setup. I haven't really decided yet. I mean, I'm kind of gotta, there's too many things going on to think about it. But I was thinking about, about doing a gravity-fed, like you having a big 160-gallon RO barrel like I have now in the other room, then running the RO line down into the sump and then using a float valve to just have it turn on when it gets low, based on just the pure weight of all that water in the other room. It would be a lot easier than topping off, because right now I top off the 30-gallon ATO every 3 days. I'm burning 30 gallons of water down here. Of course, not as much during the wintertime, but yeah. So I can only imagine how much I'm going to burn up on the 2,000 gallons of water, but we'll see. So food for thought. Oops. I avoided the ugly phase using the method as mentioned in the video, so I know it works. Yeah, it does work. I try not to give advice that doesn't work. I know that sounds cocky. That's not who I am. I don't like, giving bad advice, man. I mean, I can give you all the advice in the world and pretend I know what I'm talking about, but I try to just tell you guys stuff that I've used personally or I've used with other clients' tanks that I know that works. Because I don't think there's really too many people rolling around the community saying Fish of a Hex told me to do this, and then my tank died. I don't think that it's happened very many times, if at all. But yeah. So I move down here. Hey Travis, still having your special coral called the ear frag? Yeah, the ear frag from the story from last week. My mom cutting the tip of my ear off. For those of you who weren't here, when I was a kid, I used to have a bowl cut, crazy bowl cut like Nick from Backstreet Boys, because he was my hero then. And my mom was cutting my hair bowl cut style, and she cut the top of my ear off, the little flappy cartilages, not the actual hard cartilage, but the skin above it. And then I grabbed it and like, Mom, you cut my ear, and I started bleeding over the place. She's freaking out. So yeah, so that's called an ear frag for anybody who wants to know. Good old days, I suppose. Yo, Travis, what's up, Glenn? About to silicone spare glass all over my busted lowboy. Wish me luck. Sounds like an awful idea. Frag swap tomorrow. Drive on down. I'll let you know the ghetto lowboy works out. Yeah, let me know about the lowboy. I will not make it to the frag swap. You guys know I work my other job on the weekends, so Saturdays I'm not available unless I do like 2 months out. But yeah, you're using spare glass to fix a busted lowboy. That sounds awful. I mean, I broke a lot of low boys. You know that, Glenn. I broke a lot of low boys. Yeah, I would not do that. I'm happy to say that I will never use. I mean, low boys are good. I'm not gonna trash on them. They work. They provide a service. But I'm not ever going to use them in another setup. Nope, never doing it. I broke so many of them. It's not even funny. Hex, did you move? Are you moving over to Mobius? No, I'm not. Nope. We can see a lot of bubbles coming from your power heads washing over the surface. Don't you have a splashes everywhere? No, I don't have any issues with that. There's a little bit there, but the way I painted this, it doesn't cause any issues. There's no rot or any rust or anything above. It might be a little bubble splashing around, but it's not too often that happens. And usually I catch it just for this recording. I should probably, now I have the power head down a little bit lower so it doesn't do it, but I don't worry about it too much. Vibrant is causing cyano. Should I stop dosing? Well, what are you using Vibrant in the first place to do? Or is it for what? What are you using it for? If it's causing cyano, then yeah, you might want to stop and then address why you have cyano. Obviously, you have excess nutrients in there. So yeah, fix the problem. Tanks are looking great. Would love to set something up like you have maybe down the road. Motivating. Keep up the awesome work, bud. Shadowlands for the win. Yeah, yeah, Shadowlands. I've been grinding keys. I did last night. I did a little bit this morning before I started hammering on the filter socks. I was grinding some keys on my Guardian, but yeah, I'm looking forward to Shadowlands. I don't know if it's going to come out sometime soon, hopefully, but yeah, just pissing around for now. My hopes is to get back into raiding once I get into Shadowlands. It'd be nice to. It's been a long time. Is it safe to use glass cleaner on the outside of a tank as long as it's spraying into the paper towel? No. Don't use any kind of glass cleaner. Use vinegar and water. It's like, I don't know. I don't remember what the ratio is. It's probably like 75% water and 25% vinegar, or even 80% water, 20% vinegar. Just do that. Spray it on the glass and use a paper towel to clean it off. Don't use any glass cleaners, nothing like that. Regardless of where you're spraying it, just don't do it, man. It's not worth the risk. Not worth it, man. I have the filter roller mats, and the only thing that is annoying for me is when I dose something that wants you to remove your filter socks. Yeah, I could see that being an issue. What are you dosing to for they want you to remove your filter socks? I mean, let me know below if you just remind me that this is what we were talking about. I'll try to keep an eye on the name, but yeah, I heard that they fill up pretty quickly depending on what you feed, how much water you have. And again, I'm gonna have to set up my system in a way that I can use the roller, but also go back to filter socks if I need to. I'm just gonna have the backup just in case, because maybe the roller stuff won't, in the future, maybe they won't be available or whatever reason. I want to be able to move back to the socks if I need to. Okay, here we go. Oop, let me scroll down here. You're gonna have to do a list of good corals, a list of corals that are predators or other corals on other corals. Well, the thing is there isn't really a predator coral relationship. That's not really, I don't know any corals that actively go out and try to eat other corals. It's just a battle of resources. So you have two corals next to each other. One's gonna win over the other. One's gonna get the light, one's gonna get the flow, one's gonna grow over the other one. Now, depending on what type of coral it is, gonna depend on who's stronger. Obviously, if you put a torch next to a frog spawn, the torch is going to win. If you put a torch next to an acropora, the torch is going to win. You put a millipora next to, I guess, maybe let's just say my rainbow granulosa, the millipora is going to win. So I guess I can do a video similar to that to kind of compare what would win, but it's different in many cases. I've had a rainbow granulosa take on harder, what I thought were harder or tougher corals and win. So I'm sure environmental factors and other things in the tank can contribute to that. But I'll do my best to try to create a video, something like that here in the future. Have you gotten any updates on the next PA Reef Conservation Society frag swap will be? No, the Salted Reef. I have not gotten any emails. Usually they come right to my Fish of Hex. I haven't gotten anything. I even signed up for my other email, my personal, and I still haven't got any. So, no, I don't know. With this COVID stuff going on, I don't think they're doing anything. I think PA locked down a little bit more. I haven't paid attention to it. I stay off Facebook. I try to stay away from all that stuff on the news because it's just irritating. So, I just go about my business. Holy shit, you reef and play WoW, and you're awesome. Yeah, man, I've been playing WoW since BC. I took some time off, obviously, deployment wise, couldn't play during then. But I play pretty consistently, but I haven't raided in an entire expansion. I haven't raided the entire whatever the heck we're in now, BFA. I haven't rated it at all. Only Mythic Plus. So so hopefully we'll get back into rating for the next patch or next expansion. I just got to find a guild, somebody who works on my schedule. Just go to the fiberglass throws at Travis, and you'll be glad you did. Yeah, I'm not I'm not a fan of that stuff, man. I'm just not a fan. What are the dimensions on the 1000? Well, right now I'm kind of tossed between a couple different setups. The one I'm leaning towards is 10 foot to it's either going to be 10 foot or 12 foot long. I'm still between that. 4 foot wide and 32 inches tall. It's going to be the same height as the 300, well, an inch or so taller. And that's what I'm looking for. So I'm still stuck between 10 foot or 12 foot. I haven't decided. Leaning towards the 12 foot, but it depends. That's a big tank. And you got to think I got to grow out tanks in there as well, and fragging tanks and stuff. And I just got to have enough room to work. And it's just gotta, we'll see. I'm not even ordering the tank or the setup or making any decisions until the house is built and we're actively living in it. So I know exactly what I'm going to do. Because I'd hate to order something and that's just not have it work out. That'd be pretty heartbreaking. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do for content for you guys for whatever the 6 months it takes to get all that stuff going on. But we'll see, man. I mean, see what's going on. Fish of Hex Aquatics. I'm looking at the Jabo DCP 8000 for my 150 gallon build. I see that you have been using them and watched your videos. Seems like you recommend. Yeah, I mean the Jabo return pumps are pretty good. I've never had one die. I've never had one had any issues other than it kind of reduced the flow a little bit when I had my biopellet reactor, but I think any pump at that point would. But other than that, no issues with the Jabo return pumps. I'm not talking about the power heads. The power heads are junk, but the return pumps seem to be pretty good. So I don't know if I'm gonna use them on the new build. I gotta move up to some bigger and badder pumps for the new build. Something that could really move some water. I'm over here trying to swallow the water I got in my mouth. All right, so let's move down. Ah, shit. As I'm leaving overseas, it's difficult for me to reach your products. How can I raise NO3 for only feeding much? Yeah, I mean, you could feed more. That's about all I recommend you do. And you can dose stuff like phytoplankton and stuff like that. Helps boost your nutrients a little bit. But yeah, you can feed extra. But ideally, if you have to feed a ton of food and it's costing you a lot of money, you might be easier just to find NO3 and PO4. That's what I would do. Oops. What's the fastest SPS coral you sell? Montecaps, like what's the fastest type of coral? Like how fast do they sell? Montipora, those digitatas. I mean, all the digis. Go really, really quickly. I think Fire Digi's the fast. It's out of stock right now. I got a bunch of that stuff healing, but yeah. The beginner SPS, everything on the SPS page, it all goes real quick. Yeah. Been having some issues with the Panopy bird's nest shipping lately. I'm not sure why. I had somebody send me a photo yesterday, or it might have been this morning, but I don't know what UPS did to that box, man, but every coral was broke off the plug. Every single coral. And that doesn't happen unless it's getting slammed. I mean, you got to think how hard you got to throw a box for a coral that's encrusted to break off the plug. That's crazy. So that kind of stuff frustrates me. Like today, I got a call from a guy, an older gentleman who I shipped the order out on the 14th. He just got it yesterday at 5 p.m. So it took 2 days to get there, which is totally not acceptable. That's insane. But my ice packs that I have are rated for 24 hours, so you're not going to sit pretty at 48 plus hours. But anyways, I just went ahead and he decided he was going to pay the shipping again. And I'm sending out his whole order again on Monday. I usually help people out with that kind of stuff because I don't know, shipping's been really weird lately, obviously with everything going on. But yeah, let's go move down here. Hey guys, thanks for all the support. I am reading all the comments, so I appreciate all your support for the channel. I definitely do. That's what we got here. Trying to grow Chaeto, but the grow light hangs over the refugium and causing a lot of algae growth in the sump. What would be a good light that I can directly put over the Chaeto? Well, it depends on your budget. I know that Kessel A360. No. 380, I believe it is. It's the Chaeto light. You just do Kessel Chaeto light. I don't remember the exact number. I had a client that had that, and that thing grew a ton of algae, like good algae, like Chaeto. It grew really well. But if you find that your Chaeto isn't growing, but you are growing algae in your sump, or I guess you can say your refugium, go in there and manually remove that bad algae, because if they're fighting for the nutrients and the light source. So obviously the bad algae is winning that. So manually remove as much of it as you can whenever it starts popping up. That way the Chaeto can start winning that battle, and eventually there will be so much Chaeto that when that bad algae goes to grow again, it can't outcompete the Chaeto. So that's one of the reasons why we have refugiums, is to grow algae in a specific spot other than in our display tank. So try that. If you have the money, I believe it's the 380, H380, H360. I don't know. It's one of those. Also, I've gotten really good growth with the Home Depot light bulbs. I have a bunch of videos on that. But making my own refugium light, those 5K cheap bulbs from Home Depot, they're floodlight bulbs. They do really, really well. So just keep that in mind. Just depends on your budget. I started at the launch a while off and on, but played every expansion. Yeah, I played every one. I think Draenor and the other one, something like that. I played very little. I think I logged in like 3 or 4 times. I just didn't like that whole thing. The pandas and shit. Who the fuck likes pandas? That's stupid. He's probably like, I play Panda. But I didn't really like those expansions. But we'll see how Shadowlands works out. Hopefully it's good. I've got a 90-gallon quarantine tank. Should I run a parasite solution in it at all times? You can run copper, a small trace of copper all the time if you want. But usually you want to use carbon to get the copper out so you can build up the beneficial bacteria again on the sponge filter. So when you add fish eventually, you'll be able to, not have any ammonia spikes or anything like that in the tank. So you can. I know that I used to keep a very small amount of copper, nothing too crazy, but it's your call on that. Let's go and see what we got. Let me scroll down to the super chat. I'm going to have to remember where I was at. Brian. Hey, thanks for super chat, by the way. It's been months since my nitrates stuck at 0. My SPS turning brown. I've tried overfeeding to increase it, but end up with my phosphate jump to 0.8. Should I dose nitrates, and how to please? P.S. I had an exterior. Okay. Now, I'm trying to think. So your coral's turning brown with low nutrients. So that means that your lighting must be really low. Because usually, if your your nutrients are low, you're going to get kind of paleness, light color, not so much brown. So first thing I would do is double check to make sure your lighting is good. Make sure you have good PAR, at least 250 minimum. If you have any SPS, you can get away a little bit lower than that for LPS and soft corals, of course. But if you have SPS in there, you might want to stay above 250. And so double check your lighting. And then if you're only getting an increase in phosphates from feeding, then consider dosing nitrates. I do sell it on my website. It's fishofhex.com. I do sell nitrates and phosphates on there. And well, you're in Canada, aren't you? So you're gonna have to find a source. I believe that's what the CA means. But yeah, you're gonna have to find a source for nitrates and phosphates where you're at. Yeah, or consider getting food that's not as high in phosphates. I know if you try to feed a lot of nori that has a lot of phosphates in it, so consider trying to feed something that doesn't have as much phosphates in it. So that would be my recommendations. Let me go back up. Again, thanks for the super chat on that. Ooh, we were at Brian, weren't we? I just got my I just got my ICP test back, and tin is through the roof at 22 plus. Went through everything and no apparent rust anywhere. Using poly filter, tank has been up for 8 months. Most everything looks good. Any ideas? Okay, so tin. Make sure hose clamps. Nothing with that. Check the screws on your return pumps. If you're running MP10s or MP40s, any kind of pump like that, make sure it's not rusted. apparent rust. I mean, I'm not talking about just rust that you see. Go look for it. Look at the screws in your pumps. Definitely look at if you have MP10s or MP40s. Check out that to make sure the wet side is not cracked and rusted, because that was an issue for most people. I'm trying to think of some other sources that might cause it. But yeah, you definitely want to perform some water changes to get that stuff out. You got the polyfilter socks running now. But yeah, that's really all I can tell you on that. I mean, you're going to have to dive into it a little bit more. If you want to hit me up later, maybe we do something off the live stream. If you can't get it fixed, I can dive into it a little bit of a process of elimination. Allow me to look at the tank and get a better idea of what's going on. Make sure there's nothing above the tank dripping into it. I mean, if you're in a basement, make sure there's no pipes above it that might be dropping rust or any crap like that. Again, I don't know your setup, so it's difficult to really guide you in the right direction. Do you think it's more difficult to maintain wild frags than captive ones? Well, captive frags are definitely easier to maintain and to keep. The reason why I know this is because I used to import Acropora colonies, and I would cut them up into frags and then heal them, and basically see how many would survive the healing process. I would say never, but it's very rare that every frag that you cut from a colony that you import survives. Here in the 300, I've cut out entire colonies and didn't lose a frag. Like that stylo, I've never lost a frag of that. The WWC, I think maybe I lost 1 or 2 frags. I've gotten hundreds from that colony. Putting on here, excuse me. Oh, shoot, man, sorry about that. But yeah, so it's definitely harder to keep frags from the wildlife because they're used to different water parameters. Of course, they're used to a cleaner environment. Of course, they go through all the stress of being transported here. It's a pretty stressful event. So, yeah, if you're going to buy coral, try to buy grown in-house or captive ones, captive bred. Do you recommend marine pure biomedia? No, I don't. The reason why I stopped using it was because I was getting aluminum in my ICP test. And also, if you're going to use any kind of marine pure or any other biomedia, you have to use it after the filter socks. So that way you don't have food and poop and all sorts of stuff getting lodged into the media, clogging it, and then turning it into a little mini nitrate factory. So consider using it after the filter socks if you do plan on using it at all. So personally, no, I wouldn't use it. Chris, Vigiflex Aquatics, the H2 overflows on your 300. The 150 I got has 2 large 1.5 holes on the back of each end of the tank. Yeah, that's correct. And 1 3/4 inch hole in the center, so I can't use their shadow thoughts. Okay. So yes, mine has the 2 1.5 inches, which go into the back to the tank. I don't have a smaller one. Let me read here. Holes on the back of each end of the tank and 1 3/4 inch hole in the center can use their shadow thoughts. I don't know what that is. You have to check and see what they have set up for their overflow box, but mine is just the 2 1.5s, which go up to the top, drain into the back overflow box, and then there's 3 1.5s that go down into the sump. So you're gonna have to check with them, man, on that. I have a 75-gallon running it for 2 years, and now I have green algae growing, even though my phosphates is at 0.09. I have done plenty of water changes. Well, if you have algae growing, there's really no sense even testing your nitrates and phosphates because you're going to get a false reading. So if you see algae growing, trust me, you have elevated nutrients. It's that simple. So find the source. I've mentioned this quite a few times. Check the water, make sure it's 0 TDS, make sure your tank isn't overstocked, make sure you're not overfeeding, just the basic stuff. And then make sure you have a good nutrient export, adequate skimmer, maybe macroalgae, consistent water changes. You got to find the source, man. And also add some manual removal. Maybe get some hermit crabs if they're not freaking $20 a piece, just to kind of help with that whole process. Got tangs in there doing work. Do a rounded approach, and you should be good. Fastest growing SPS. The fastest growing SPS, bird's nest. Yeah, I mean that stuff grows like crazy. Digitata grows really quick too. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, I'd say the purple style is a pretty nasty. Hydnophora, that thing grows crazy too. Basically, all the beginner SPSs grow really fast. Okay, I have a Tiger Shark glass cleaner. I need a 3D printed handle that will allow me to use it in a 2-inch wide by 24-inch deep space. The tank is TV Nook. Okay, thanks. Well, if you live in the United States, you can send me the glass cleaner, and I can build you a handle that you can attach. You know, the thing that can attach to the whatever the heck it is, and you can the magnet, and you can put a handle on it. So let me know. You can email me. Oop, that went all the way down. Does the valve that came with the Milwaukee doser clog easily? I had mine going at one bubble every 9 seconds for a few weeks. It seems to be clogged somewhere in offers. The Milwaukee doser, you talking about the carbon doser? I'm guessing that's what you mean. But I never used that one before. My first carbon doser was the carbon doser, so I got the good one, I suppose, if you want to call it that. But yes, the regular carbon doser valves, the little gate valves there, they do clog up. So it's probably something you want to look at too. Just check the hose, make sure the valve isn't, use some, you can take it apart, use some canned air, see if it's cleaned. Go from there. No problem. Let me see if I can. Chato is for noobs. Need to be rocking that Miracle Mud Fuge. Never used Miracle Mud. Heard about it, but I've never used it. So we got another super chat. Oh, let me get down here. I had 2x2 Red Sea 90s on an XL 300 and Islands and Pulsing Exini. These guys suck up all the nitrates? Should I remove them? By the way, you're most welcome. I guess they can have. I don't really know too much about that stuff sucking up nitrates. That coral. It could. It makes sense. It does well in really dirty tanks. But yeah, if you want to remove it, go ahead, man. It's not. It's going to grow back. Just understand. You could probably remove the islands, and you'll still pop up somewhere else. That's just how that coral works. But yeah, you can consider that, and then you can dose if you want. It's it's your call on that. Yeah. Let me see here. Back to where I was. I have a 29-gallon tank and recently bought a 40-gallon. Would I need to buy new sand for my 40, or would I be able to rinse the old sand and reuse? You can reuse the sand. Yeah, just rinse it off. As long as it's not too dirty that it requires you to go in there and just spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours trying to clean it. But yeah, if you just want to rinse it off and throw it in a new tank, go ahead. Just understand it has to recycle. Kind of go through that whole process. So just be careful with your nutrients. Hey, Travis, what Apex system would you recommend for 180? That really depends on what you want to do, Brian. How many gadgets you want? I know that the juniors, and I think they make another version that only allows you to have a certain amount of modules. I would say if you're going to get an Apex, just get the real one, and then you can have up to 250 some odd modules like that. So just get the real Apex, because it would suck if you bought the one that only allowed you to have like 7 or 10 module. I don't remember exactly what it is, but and then you need to expand, or you need something and you can't use it because the system doesn't allow you to. That'd be crap, because then you'd have to sell it, not make very much money, and then spend the money you would have spent already. So just get the regular Apex. Drew, Hex, I'm looking forward to seeing some of those new acros like the Walt Disney and Orange Passion get massive, Hex, and the Hex Reef. Do you find them growing fast? They grow pretty decent. They're encrusted onto the rock. They're not getting the par. Like they're roughly around, I would say, 300-ish, 350. Most of my faster growing corals are up a little bit higher, but I'm sure they'll be okay. They are encrusted on the rock. They seem to be good. The coloration is pretty good. They're definitely not as fast growing. The Walt Disney, in my instance, is not as fast growing as a regular acropore. Like if you were to compare a green slimer to a Walt Disney, I mean, there's no comparison. The green slimer will take over in no time. So they don't grow as fast, which is probably why the price is where it's at. If green slimer grew as slow as Walt Disney, it'd probably be worth a little bit more money. So, but yeah. So hopefully they get big before we tear the system down. I guess we'll see. If I end up going through this whole process and the house is built in the spring, well, they're probably not going to get that big because we got we got 6 months left in the year, 5 months left in the year. So we'll see. One thing that I try to explain to people is, people are always saying, hey man, the tank is, is growing, but understand guys that I right now, currently I'm doing about 100 to 200 frags a week between the 40 gallon and the 300 every week that I'm cutting. So if the tank looks like it's sitting still and it's not growing, it's because I'm fragging it to death. No, it's not to death. It's because that's what's going on. You guys know that I use my main display and my 40 gallon shallow reef. Those are my main cutting tanks for selling coral. And you guys know that I sell coral for a living. So I know that I would love to have a fully packed tank, rim to rim or glass pane to glass pane, but I got to pay bills, man. So I'm cutting it up every week, man. I'm telling you, I'm just packed. I got 3 low boys right now that have two or have egg crate all the way across the bottom on both of them or all 3 of them, and it's slammed. I could probably fit another 150 frags between all 3 tanks, but I mean it's packed. There's lots of healing going on right now, but we'll see. It looks like we're going to do a few more minutes, and then because my voice is getting scratchy and running out of water. That's what happens, man. It's been an hour and 16 minutes of just straight talk, and my voice is already pissed off. So I do apologize about that. Hex, in my sump, Chaeto all ended up dying, but green hair algae grew like crazy in it. Do you think that would functionality work the same way? Little to no problems in my display tank with green hair algae. So yeah, so as I mentioned before, if you have green hair algae in your sump with your Chaeto, get the green hair algae out. Every time you see it pop up, if it starts just showing a slight sign of growing on the side of the tank or sump, get it out of there. Go in there with a razor blade, siphon it out, use a fish net, whatever. Just get the green hair algae out because it's fighting for resources. So I hit the mic here. Sorry if that was loud for anybody. So you got to get it out. If you want the Chaeto to survive, you got to kind of switch over to that growing instead. Whatever happened to Mike Lemming going live on Fridays? I don't know, man. I haven't heard from Mike in forever. Oh, yeah, yawning. Whew. But I think he messaged me on Instagram a few weeks ago. But I don't know. He's got life going on, man. One thing is there's very few of us who are still here. I know Scott's coming back eventually. We all know that he had some issues with this. He had to take down his tank. Life got tough. But he's coming back. But a lot of people, I'm telling you, a lot of people who start making reefing channels, they don't stick around very long. It is a niche market, and there's a lot of hate on this community. In this community, it's crazy how many, God forbid you say one thing wrong, they all come after you. But if you got some thick skin, man, you can take it, then you might be all right. But yeah, I don't know what's up with Mike. Hopefully he comes back. That's awesome of you, Travis. Working with your customers on problems causing of shipping problems, etc. I will be ordering SPS cores. I'm nervous because I'm a rookie. Love your videos. Yeah, man. Hey, well, I always have beginner SPS. That's something I always have in stock. So check that out. It's going to be your Monty's, Digis, and Green Bird's Nest, stuff like that. But yeah, I'm willing to work with anybody, any customer, as long as you approach me the right way. If you try to come at me saying like that it was my fault that UPS decided to deliver your order 2 days later. I mean, obviously that wasn't my fault, but if you're, just a straight dick about it, then I'm just going to tell you to pound sand. But if you're respectful and you're nice, then I'll be like, yeah, dude, just pay for shipping again. I'll send the whole order out. No problem. Because you got to understand that, I'm not only did you lose the money, but I lost the money as well. So, I mean, in inventory. So it's not really a problem most of the time to send the whole order out again, depending on if it's cut the order. Of course, they got to cut it again. But yeah, I mean, I have no problem working with people 99% of the time. There's always that 1%. People are just, I don't know, man. It's not like I could control the UPS guy, man. I mean, obviously, if I could hand deliver to you, I would. Trust me, I would much rather do that. Would you recommend the Bergia eating nudibranchs to get rid of Aptasia? Yes. I never use Aptasia X. I've used the nudibranchs in the past. They work really well, but make sure you don't have any wrasses. If you do, make sure they're fed, and then make sure so you're probably going to get your order of nudibranchs in the morning. What you're going to want to do is feed your fish, and then turn all the lights off in your setup, and then go ahead and once the fish calm down in about an hour or so, you're acclimating the nudibranchs. Then go ahead and put your nudibranchs where the Aptasia is, or as close to the Aptasia as you can. Don't just drop them in the tank, free floating around. That's not going to work out. So put them where the Aptasia is or close to it, and then leave the lights off for the rest of the day. If you have SPS, it'd be fine. They might be a little pissed off, but and then make sure your fish are fed, your tangs are fed, your wrasses, all that stuff. I don't think the tangs will eat them, but you never know. Wrasses will, for sure. Oh, I went all the way down. Damn. It is it is your birthday. Science, my favorite party fishing. Yeah, I got that for my birthday. I'm a big fan of The Office. I love that show. It's the cringiness. I mean, there are some episodes that I can't watch because I've seen it all the seasons probably 100 times. I literally watch it every night as like background noise before I fall asleep because I got to have some kind of noise going in the background or my freaking ears bother me. So I usually put that in the background, or Parkham Rex, which is pretty cool to a certain extent. But yeah, that I love that sign. It is your birthday. That's great. But yeah. Whoops. Drew, what is the giant Zoa in the front left of the golden purple? That is a sunset. No, what the hell is that? Scott, what is that coral? What is that Zoa? The front left. Sunny D's. No. Sunny D. Is it Sunny D? Yeah, Sunny D's. Yeah, Sunny D's. Zoas. But yeah, those will be up for sale at some point when we take the tank down. All of them will be. Does your powder blue attack your other fish? Yeah, he attacks everybody, but he also gets his butt handed to him by the sailfin. So, give some, get some. Fish of Hex, Travis, I have a mimic tang that has a weird bubble on its eye. Can anything be done? Well, it sounds like Popeye. It has a weird bubble on his eye. Might be a version. It's got to be some kind of infection. You can do probiotics for the tank, like a fish or a tank in general, probiotics. I know Dr. Tim sells some eco something. You can just do beneficial bacteria will help with that. Don't take it out and don't play with it. You're going to have to let nature do its thing. I mean, unless you're a fish doctor, unless you want to take it to a vet, which I mean, that sounds like a huge pain in the butt, but yeah, it's your fish. Yes, carbon doser valve clogs after 3 weeks of use. Yeah, that sounds like a crappy valve, man. I'll tell you, I know, Ben. I've seen your setup. I mean, your wife probably won't appreciate you spending $300 on a carbon doser, but spend $300 on a carbon doser. I mean, you've already got what, 20 grand in your setup. Just buy the carbon doser because you're just gonna. I mean, listen, you're gonna fill that tank full of SPS. It's gonna clog up. You're not gonna notice it one day. You're gonna kill off all your coral, and you'll be super pissed that you spent all this money on that tank. And you get, and then I talked to you before. Remember I said get the chiller and get the backup generator for the house. I mean, these are things. Carbon doser is right up there, man. So just do it. So tell her I said I'm sorry, but you got to do it, man. Just buy the good stuff. You'll appreciate it later. It pays for itself just knowing that it works. All right, I'm good down here. We're going to do another minute or so. Try to do a couple questions, and I'm going to peace out. I do believe there is strawberry shortcake upstairs, and because I'm fat, I definitely want to eat it. And then I think that's about it. I don't know what else I'm going to do tonight, but I'm definitely going to eat some cake. Oh, man, it sucks. Fish of Hex, if you had a dream coral, what would it be? I don't have a dream coral, honestly. I have a dream tank, like a dream of visually what tank will look like without verminted snails, all acropora, massive fish are in there having a good time, and it's peninsula style. so I could put a camera on one side of the tank and I can I can flip myself off from the other side. I mean, just the simple things that I enjoy. So yeah, but yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it for tonight. I think we're good. We're like an hour and a half in. I think that's pretty good. We got 94 people in the stream. Appreciate you guys being here. I do apologize for being a little slow tonight. Just been a long week, man. We're like 100 some odd orders. I still got a ton going out. Just a reminder, the coral sale will be ending Monday morning at 12 a.m. So if you're going to order coral and get those prices, do it this weekend. And yeah. I think that's it. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I will see you next week with another video. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet. It's going to depend. If I got a ton of orders going out, I'm going to try to sneak a video in like I did this week. I'm going to try to do that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. And, of course, we have the live stream next week too. So that's it. I'll see you guys later, all right? Peace.